But most importantly, I think one of the things that we need to really ask ourselves when a tragedy happens is, where does the gun come from?
That's right.
By answering that question and pinpointing back, where does that gun come from, it'll allow us to really make a dent in the opposition's issues that they raise as, well, we're going to be treading on somebody's rights. No. I think that they're treading on our rights to live peacefully, that in a way that we shouldn't be afraid. But most importantly, we also need to expose the corporate gun lobby. We need to expose the corporate gun lobby in the efforts to oppose simple measures like background checks. Background checks save lives. We know since 20 years ago, when the first Brady bill was passed, it has stopped over 2.1 million individuals from being able to access guns. And these are prohibited individuals. People who had a criminal record like domestic abuse, or who had a criminal record like a previous gun felony. And so we know they work, and we need to close those loopholes.
Yes.
And I'll just close off by saying this. What the corporate gun lobby does is they make money, they go out and buy politicians, buy their votes, but our members of our community are the ones that pay the price, and we need to stop that.
When we heard the story of Adia Pendleton, it tore all of our hearts out. And so let us now hear from her mother, who is carrying her life forward, Miss Cleo Pendleton.
Good morning, guys. I look at my watch. Good morning. I've been sitting here listening to everyone, and everything every panelist has said to this moment has just been awesome. Like, where do I fit in all of this? Like, I'm here next to some people that have done some absolutely amazing things. And, you know, like you said, how did I wind up on this panel? Reverend Al Sharpton. You know, all these people that, you know, know that there's an issue and have been working in that for some time. And I see where I work, where I fit. I'm that person, you know, one of many people who have been affected by the lack of motivation from representatives to actually put these, you know, gun laws and principle laws in place. That's what I represent. I represent the population of people that Sister Aisha said is forgotten. I represent that because I have no problem sitting here and talking in front of all you, which is interesting because on January 28th, 2013, that's the day before my daughter was murdered, I would have fainted if you asked me to get into the front of a room and have a conversation. Today, the hurt that I have felt, the criticism that we've received, just in doing a good thing, you know, raising the awareness on, you know, the issues and putting faces and being, you know, making ourselves felt and seen in rooms where, you know, we the issue would have otherwise been ignored. It's been interesting. Anthony and I decided, and I call him Anthony affectionately, he's Nick Pendleton. Anthony and I, you know, decided to take on, you know, this issue because we have such a network of people that, you know, we raised our children with. And the fact that we've been devastated now for 15 months, and, you know, people are comforting us, but they have no idea what they're really, you know, comforting. You know, they don't know what to do, what to say. So we've lost friends. we've gained others. You know, but at the end of the day, it's something that we can't run from. If we have to live with it every day, we have to do something about it so that no one else we know has to live with it. You know, when we first started talking, we said, you know, we wanted to raise awareness about the issue so no one other family had to feel what we're feeling. Yet so many families feel what we're feeling. And it's only 15 months later. After Hadia was murdered on January 29, 2013, there came a weekend in Chicago where there were like 46 people shot. It's ridiculous. It's because, you know, there are no universal background checks. And I say that, not that the criminal is gonna go get his gun legally, but you wonder where the gun came from. And had someone done something like that a while ago, if my daughter would still be living. See, it's not that the effect is immediate with, you know, the changes that need to be made. It's about the long-term effect. You know, we were in Washington lobbying and, you know, looking at the faces of people and, you know, just a conglomerate of people from all, you know, parts, all different cities. And if we're, you know, we're getting in these rooms, we're getting in the faces of these different representatives. And, you know, finally I'm frustrated. I've walked all across the campus. Like, it's just amazing. And I finally, you know, it was one representative. I said, how long have we been fighting this issue? And he said, about 15 years. I said, do you know how many people have died? And you guys have done nothing. How many people continue to die because someone's afraid to inconvenience people that, you know, don't mind obeying the law? It's not about, you know, not wanting people to have guns. That's not what this whole thing is about. It's not about that. It's not about the Second Amendment being wrong or right. It's have your Second Amendment. My family is a family of hunters. Dare I ever tell my daddy he can't go shoot a deer and bring it home and make me eat it? There's nothing wrong with that, living off the land. We've been doing it for a while. But my husband likes to say, wide earth. Is it wide earth? He said he had it right. There's no guns in his town. Right? You know what you said? And so we wonder why if he could get it right, why we can't get it right. So, as he has to always say, I talk too much and I know I have a little time, but I hope I've said something that, you know, has brought about some thought or something. You know, we are with the people, the grassroots, right? And it's up to us to make the noise that needs to be made and demand that the changes are put in place so we can
Thank you. Tony Herbert.
I guess it's appropriate to say praise the Lord right about now. You know, when you hear the compelling story about Hadia, I think we were dealing with a shooting here in New York the same time that came over on the news. And I think we had something like 30 some odd shootings that same week. But I'd be remiss to do this because Aisha set the tone. So I mean, you know, I don't want to double up on that because she's actually put the agenda out. So let me just do this. We can't do this by ourselves. What I do recognize is that we do have partners in this game, and I call it a game because it's a chess game. It's trying to determine where the next shots are going to be fired so we can prevent it, so we go out and we stand on the street corners and we do what we need to do to defer those kind of situations, or should I say deter them. And I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize our partners in this struggle, like Harlem Mother Saves, Jackie Rowe Adams, who's in the room. I'm not sure, but you have people like Erica Ford from Life Camp. You have Derek Scott from SOS and the whole SOS crew. Marie DeLuce, as well as Mothers Demand Actions, who's in the room. The Furtado Brothers, Kings of Kings Foundation, Reverend Vernon Williams, the Perfect Peace Ministries, Man Up. Jamani Williams and the whole New York City Council, who actually has that committee, Peacekeepers. And then also one of the most intricate partners that I was able to determine can help us to move things to action is the media. And what have you. You need to understand something. If anything I learned from Reverend Sharp, that if you put it out there, somebody's going to hear about it. And once that call is made, before the cameras even go on, phone calls are made and action is taken because nobody want to be put on blast. And that's why we use the TV cameras to agitate and get the results we need to make things happen in our society. Because folks tend to want to hide in corners, don't want to do their job, and the next thing you know, we've got these kind of shootings taking place where just not too long ago on Clarendon Road in the East Flatbush section, where a good friend, Bishop Eric Garnes, who's the president in the room of that particular area of Nan, we just had a shooting at 12:36. So it's just these guns are going off too often, and it's frustrating at best. Because you best believe in some city tonight around 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, there's going to be a vigil taking place, and it's happening one in Brooklyn to recognize the lives of those that were lost in Brownsville in just last couple of days, Simeon Allen and also Aaron Utsi, who was shot and killed because they wanted to get at his brother and turn around, wind up shooting him to send a message. This is stupid. And it's killing our community, and a lot of folks need to get the message out that we're not playing with this. We all have to be proactive. We have to be out here and saying enough is enough. It just can't be the National Action Network and these organizations I just named. It has to be everybody in this room disgusted and tired of this stuff going on in our community. When we talk about people like Adia, we talk about young lady like a Talani Mashik who just got out of the hospital, thank God, but is now paralyzed from the waist down, 11-year-old who just walked out her door and what have you, was shot in Bed-Stuy, and Kirsten and I had to go and comfort the family. I mean, these are the things that hurt. It hurts so much to stand over a 2-year-old or a 4-year-old in the Bronx who's shot and killed. I mean, come on, folks, I'm trying to hammer the message and what have you. It's not enough for you to go home, close your door, and say, it don't bother me, and then later on, we're being called to come do a vigil because somebody, God forbid, your family was killed. We have to do this together. It takes the village. You can't, it's not enough just to duck on the floor and say, oh, I heard shots fired. No, we've got to get active. Precinct council meetings, community board meetings. Everybody has to get in this thing in order to make it stop. And that's how we get rid of this craziness. While we have those dealing with it on the legislative level, we have to be the grassroots on the bottom side saying enough is enough. And our young sisters got to say to these young brothers, if you don't pull your pants up, I got no conversation for you. Then I will teach them some respect. One thing I learned a long time ago, never stand between lunch and a good conversation. So I want to share this with the rest of my colleagues here. I just want to show a lot of love to my presidents of all the different chapters around the country, particularly those here in New York who are in the struggle every day. We're dealing with this, and we're not going away. And if you want to say something, talk about Al Sharpton, you need to talk about every single one of us because we stand together.
When Tony started with National Action Network, he was a shy, unassuming young man with a full head of hair. I want to co-sign his recognition of Jackie Rowe Adams as a giant for a long time, before it was popular to talk about gun violence. When it was not popular to talk about it, she was out there on the front lines. I also would like to take this time to recognize a giant in the state Senate, New York State Senate, who is with us, Senator Ruth Hassel Thompson, who is a giant on this and many other issues impacting our community. At this time, I'd like to go to Colin.
Thank you. It's great to be back with all of you here. You know, almost 7 years ago to the day, actually, I was a college student at Virginia Tech sitting in a French class one morning when a gunman burst in and started just to shoot everybody. You know, I had grown up overseas most of my life. You know, I was born in Nairobi, just like the president. Just kidding. I lived overseas in all these places, and all that time I lived there in Egypt and Indonesia. My family